Hello, I'm Robert. Welcome to my channel where I help people who are scared of many things. And this time it's about people who are worried about this idea that Trump is going to be inaugurated as president on the 4th of March. And I just want to say there's no way this happens. It doesn't matter what they say based around that event. It's a non-event. It's not going to happen. So where does this 4th of March date come from? It's based on the pre-1933 Constitution, when I've got the date of it then, the 20th Amendment on January 23, 1933, when they changed it from the 4th of March to the earlier 20th of January. We are now using the post-1933. The 20th Amendment is there, and we are not using the 1933, the pre-1933 Constitution. Now, if Trump had wanted, he could have tried to get the inauguration day changed to the 4th of March, but he would have had to do that while he was still president. An ex-president can't change the date of the inauguration. And what's more, he would have had to do it. A president can't change this date by himself because it is a change in the Constitution. And to change the Constitution requires a 2/3 majority in both houses of Congress and the president. And then, as well as that, it also requires 3/4 of the US states. Each state has to vote in favour of it with the majority vote. So Trump would have had to have done that while he was president, and then he'd have had to have got support of 2/3 majority in both houses and then 3/4 of the US states, and then he could have changed the inauguration day. He can't do it anymore. Now it's up to Biden. So Biden could change the inauguration day for 2024. But nobody is actually calling for this. So it is extremely unlikely that the date is changed in 2024 either. So there is no way that Biden's inauguration day was completely above board, completely correct. It is what the Constitution, the current Constitution, says by the 20th Amendment. We go by the current Constitution and not by the early 20th century Constitution. And by that Constitution, he was inaugurated on the correct day. And so there's nothing going to happen on the 4th of March. That's it. Just hopefully that helps some of you to understand this. Really, it's a non-thing. It's just Qanon nonsense. And then, well, for those who don't know, Qanon. Sorry, I've spelled that wrong. I should make that a capital A. Qanon. I think. Anyway, and so and this Q chap, whoever it is, he has just said one thing after another for at least 4 years since it started, and these things, none of them have happened. On inauguration day itself, then Qanon were saying that President Biden was going to be arrested and executed. This didn't happen. Nothing even remotely resembling that happened. And you go back and back and back, and you get all these predictions of things that never happened. And yet people go on believing them every time, even though none of them happened. And this will just be another one of those events. I think most people, after inauguration day, so on the 20th of January, that was the final thing. It was supposed to be that Trump was suddenly going to expose a ring of satanic paedophiles across the entire world. And Qanon said that he was going to declare global martial law. In other words, apparently that Trump was in charge of the armies of Russia, China, North Korea, South Korea, Iran, Syria, Assad's army, all the military in the world, by some secret arrangement that nobody knows about, and that he was going to declare global martial law on the 20th of January, and then lots of people were going to be exposed as being satanic pedophiles, and then they were going to be executed. And nothing even remotely resembling that happened on the 20th of January. And I think that was the point at which many people finally decided that QAnon is nonsense. But a fair few still went on believing it. They said, okay, he just hasn't done it yet. There has not been a single case of Trump prosecuting anyone for satanic pedophilia in his 4 years as president, although that was, according to QAnon, that was supposed to be his entire reason for being president. And he just hasn't done anything, even remotely resembling it. So, anyway, I hope some of you will will now see that this is, and we saw with the Capitol riots that this belief system does lead people to rather extreme things sometimes. Not your average Trump supporter, but the ones who get really involved in this, and sometimes the point of violence. But the Capitol Police now realise that these plans that they come across are to be taken seriously. So don't worry that something could happen on the 4th of March if this is going around and they are as aware of it as you are. And so they'll be sure to be careful, and they are very, very careful not to let anything like what happened on the 6th of January to happen again. So you are safe. And so hopefully that helps some of you who got scared of this, and I will now upload this to YouTube.